Welcome back to Motorsport Podcast. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Mike.
And we are here to discuss the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, which took place on, I'm going to say April 20th?
April 20th.
2025.
Yeah. An Easter Sunday race.
Which was lovely. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was great to have a, you got a long weekend.
It was a bit of an inconvenient time. If I could choose, I would have chosen it to be earlier in the day because I feel like it kind of threw things off.
Make sure we write to FIA and have them schedule more around our schedule. That'd be great. Yeah.
I mean, they should be more considerate in the future.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be no problem. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be no problem. But the weekend really started off with qualifying was exciting.
Qualifying was exciting. I feel like
several drivers just trading laps, just hitting them.
I like when it's like that, when it's just the track's getting faster and faster. Like it really
Q3,
took off.
I think was really, really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. You had Max, Oscar, George throwing them in.
Yeah. Like I feel like I know that I've spoken kind of that George is just kind of skating by the first few races. Mm-hmm. I do feel like this was the first time though that the Mercedes looked quick.
Yeah.
And it didn't just like, he kind of, like I felt like he deserved to be at the front of the grid versus he kind of ended up there by accident.
Right. Yeah. I think Oscar was fast all weekend.
Totally, yeah.
I mean, the McLaren was fast all weekend because Lando was fastest in, I think, FP2 and FP3.
And he was really fast hitting a wall too.
Also, hitting a wall. Yes, he was.
Yeah, such a Lando move.
we had expected for Lando to make a mistake.
We did. We also expected a rookie to be the one to hit a wall.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought his mistake was going to happen in the race, and we got it early in Q3.
He did make mistakes in the race, though, didn't he?
No, I'd say his race was pretty strong.
Well, he was investigated for the potential infringement in the pit lane. He gets sloppy. Like when he's trying to overcome something, he gets.
But I think, I don't know if he's an avid listener to this podcast, but
I don't think he'd be a fan.
But maybe he heard and was like, I need to do some self-reflection because it wasn't the sad boy Lando we saw the last 2 weeks.
This is true.
Yes, he made a mistake in Q3 and went into the wall. Granted,
I mean,
but he was putting in a fast lap.
He was, and that track is unforgiving.
Exactly. He had been performing, right? And then let's not take anything away from him in the race. He started off in 10th.
Yeah.
And
but he benefited from Pierre and Yuki, their collision on turn 1 or whatever it was.
Yeah. So there was 2 overtakes he didn't have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he did quite well. It was nice to see a bit of a return from him. I know you're not a Lando fan, but it's nice to have another guy in the mix instead of just pouting off in the side.
Yeah,
corner.
I think like if he ends up at the front and he deserves to be there, like go for it. But I think when he's pouting because he feels like regardless of performance, he should be at the front.
Yeah.
And he's like confused as to why it's happening. Anyway, I don't want to just go on and on about Lando because I could do that
you do it for
all
hours,
day.
Yeah.
My boy Oscar.
Your boy Oscar coming in with the win.
Yeah, and like we knew, because like we talked about that before the start of the race, that we knew that it was going to be an intense start between Oscar and Max. And I think Max is terrified of Oscar because he just goes for it.
Yeah.
And he knows how fast he is.
I think Max realizes that he's not going to be able to push Oscar around like he has some other drivers.
I think he feels a little bit more like it's like when he's driving against Lewis.
I was thinking he was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah. And Max starts to make mistakes. Although, you know what? Like, I'm just done with Max. Not that I ever liked him. But it drives me nuts how he just keeps doing the same thing over and over again, where it's like he's not going to make the turn.
Yeah.
And he just bails out. He just waits for a penalty if a penalty is going to happen. And you're just cheating at this point.
Well, I think it's his strategy.
His strategy is to cheat.
I don't think it's cheat. I think he's pushing the rules.
Is that against the rules?
It's against.
He's exploiting that he knows that it's
he's
lap
exploiting
one.
a weakness and knowing that they're going to give they're going to be more lenient lap 1, turn 1.
But I think they have to start cracking down on him, because was it Liam Lawson got a penalty 10 seconds later? And I get that they're more lenient, and they said in their ruling that it was because it was a lap 1 incident. Max has to stop this.
I don't think he's going to.
I think if we went back and watched hours and hours and hours of races, you could come up with at least, I'm going to say 10, if not more, of this exact example.
Oh, yeah, there definitely is. That's his move.
And then he was like, to watch it again, it's just like, you were never going to make that turn.
No. And I mean, Oscar said that on the radio right after the incident happened. You know, he looked over and said he was never going to make that turn. Yeah. Whether I was there or not, he wasn't going to make that turn.
I'm interested to see, though, because I think we saw a little bit of the return of Max when things started to get more intense between him and Lando last year, where it was like the Max of 2021, where he was just reckless driving against Lewis and drove over Lewis's car. I think that if you see more Max Oscar showdowns, you're going to see almost the exact same thing.
Yeah. But I think the reason Max was so aggressive at the beginning and was willing to risk the penalty is he knows that the McLaren's faster.
Oh, yeah.
He knows that it's Oscar behind him. So he knows that it's someone who is going to attack him hard.
Absolutely.
Without waiting, right? Like, that's one thing. Lando does tend to wait for more opportune moments for his overtakes.
Absolutely.
Oscar tends to kind of just go for it, be a little bit more gutsy, and have somewhat more unpredictable charges.
Yeah.
And I think Max knows I can't defend against that for 50 laps.
Yeah, like Oscar forces the gap where Lando waits for the gap.
Right.
So it's worked out in some cases, but I think it's also worked out because he's had a fast car. But now they both have had 5 wins. Oscar's had 3 this year. He's the only multiple race winner
this year.
This year. He is the leader of the championship.
He's now the leader of the Drivers' Championship.
Is he going to be number 1? I would like to read a Zach Brown quote, unverified, because I didn't obviously want to look into it. I saw it on social and decided to roll with it.
Assume it's true.
So Zach Brown was quoted as saying, "Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, we are now entering the Lando Norris era." Discuss.
I think that is
insane,
ridiculous.
Also, too, like you left Verstappen off there.
Yeah, you left the current 4-time champion.
Not that I like Max, but like, really, you're going to compare him to like legends, of the sport, and like Lando, really. And
I think that's what's so ridiculous is Lando has how many wins in total?
So his percentage is not very good. I've got
that. Well, I mean, up until Miami of last year, he had the record for most number of podiums without a win.
So I have some stats.
I'd love to hear them.
Plot twist, right? I'm the one with the stats. So Lando debuted in 2019.
Yeah.
Oscar debuted in 2023. So already like a number of years between.
4 years, yeah.
They each have 5 wins apiece. So Lando has converted 5 of 133 races.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Oscar, 5 of 51.
Ooh.
So Lando has 30 podiums. Oscar 14, which not bad considering.
Well, I think that's the more true sign, because I think you have to give Lando some leniency.
He's been racing for how many, like 6 years.
But 2019, 2020, the McLaren was
still 6 years.
A hunk of garbage.
Oscar's first year, the McLaren was garbage.
Yeah.
Here is the stat I would like to highlight the most for my boy Oscar. Pole to win ratio.
There it is, yeah.
Would you care to guess what Oscar's is?
100%.
100%. Whereas Lando is 40.
Ooh.
So I understand. I'm not trying to be like the hater of Lando. You know what? Up until last year, I didn't mind Lando.
Yeah.
But Lando ran his mouth at my boy Lewis. in a cool down room.
Ever since you've been...
I hold grudges.
Yeah, ever since you've been anti-Lando.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, and he just became a different person after that first victory. Like, I feel like he felt very entitled. And then I didn't appreciate his treatment of Oscar. And I just, like, holding grudges for people that I don't even know in real life.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd like to see the second half or the response to that quote you read.
Oh yes, sorry. There is a part 2. So well, it's not. So somebody then cleverly on social after Lando was being Lando, they said, Mazepin, Latifi, Sargent. We are now entering the Lando Norris era, which just made my life.
Harsh burn.
Yeah. I mean, I will give it to Lando that he is much more talented than all of those combined. As much as I love Logan Sargent.
For no reason.
For no reason. I just always felt like I felt like I had to support him. Didn't you?
I did not.
No, okay.
I did not feel that way at all.
I don't, yeah. So, but anyway, like, harsh criticism. But I do think unless he figures out a way to turn things around, it's going to be a tough go for him. So let's talk Max. Pouty Max.
Yeah, I think he was pretty cranky at the end of that race.
Yeah, like, get over yourself, Max. You broke the rules. You got penalized for it. Move on.
Yeah, and I think Christian Horner at the end was like, oh, our opinion is that, it was...
Christian Horner
needs his corner, and
Christian Horner he's a pain in my butt. I do not like him.
I know he's Max's team principal. Of course he's going to side with Max, but deep down he knows. Max,
does he, or does he just have like complete blinders on for everything Max? I would love to hear GP's opinion of him. Not opinion, sorry, like of the incident. Because I think he'd be a lot more honest. Like, it's just like, you know what, you screwed up. This is why you employ how many people to watch things. Swap the places. You could have avoided this whole thing. Swap the places. He overtook off track. They could have easily just swapped them with the DRS advantages around that track. He could have got it back.
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, like, I get it, but...
Yeah, but I think that's exactly it. I think he knew that he wouldn't have gotten it back had he swapped, had he given the position back. I think he knows Oscar would do exactly what Oscar did, where he would just pull away a little bit, create a nice buffer and sit with it for the rest of the race and just control it.
So I feel like the McLaren wasn't as fast as we all thought it was going to be, because it would be interesting, and I know you can't really, like, if Max didn't have that penalty, would Oscar have still won?
Yeah.
Or would it have been as decisive?
Yeah. I mean, I think that Oscar still would have overtaken throughout the race, and he would have...
Is overtaken a word?
It is now.
Do you remember, it must have been like maybe it was 2021. Was it 2022? It might have been 22, where Charles just messed with Max endlessly in those DRS.
In the DRSs, yes.
Oh my God. And Max did not realize for the longest time what was happening. And it was the funniest thing to watch ever.
Yeah,
I loved that race.
Back and forth.
Yeah. And Charles was just
toying with
him for so many laps. And then Max finally figured it out. But it was like...
It took several laps.
It took so long.
Yeah.
I just loved that. I was kind of hopeful we were going to see that with Oscar and Max, because I feel like Oscar is like smart like that racing wise, but we didn't really get that. So
we didn't.
Disappointing.
Yeah. But I do think that what we saw afterwards was also Max, when he's in these interviews, I think he is also now responding to the FIA's
like sportsmanship whatever that rules,
is, where he is just like, because he's in a mood because he didn't win, he's like, I'm not answering, or I'm going to give essentially a non-answer to everything you say. I'm not going to comment because he doesn't want to face penalties.
It's just a bratty way to be. No, he doesn't care about the penalties. He is just being a brat. He is. He's acting like a child that didn't get a toy at a toy store.
But I do think those rules do need to be challenged.
Absolutely.
Because I think that getting the real responses.
That's not why he's not responding. It's not, it's not.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
He wouldn't have done, no, he's using that as an excuse to not respond because he's just being a sore loser. I'm done with Max. I would welcome his retirement.
Oof. I mean, the rumors are...
Aston Martin.
I mean, they're increasing, right? We talked about them last week.
It makes sense with Nui and Honda, but I'm sorry, are you really going to keep Lance?
Well, I mean, did you see Stroll's comment after he has now the record for the most number of
Q3 exits?
Oh,
sorry, Q1 exits. I said Q3. Yeah, Q1 exits. Well, yeah, it's you know what? I will give it to Lance that before he entered Formula One, he was actually talented. He's not just a Mazepin or Latifi where he ended up in the car. He's actually got talent, and I think it's more the talent has been developed over time versus natural talent.
Well, yeah, I think he is a talented driver in comparison to the driving world at large, not the top 20 in the entire world.
So you think he could be
of F1? I do think, I think it might be tight, but I think yeah.
I bet you could get him to hit a wall.
Probably. Yeah, and I think that him having a 10-year career shows that the reason he's still in F1 is because
of his dad. Obviously.
I think you're right that he got to F1 on merit, mostly.
Yeah,
he had the talent to come in as a rookie to a smaller team. And
he had the financial backing, but it wasn't like it was the worst idea to sign him, right? It wasn't he'd actually had podiums and was he he wasn't an F2 champion, right?
He wasn't an F2 champion, but he did perform well. But I think him staying this long is a result of,
obviously
just the financial backing. Because if you were to compare someone else with a long career who has also been on non-performing teams like a Hulkenberg, or a K-Mag, up until recently, I think you saw more out of them than you ever have from Lance.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't think Hulkenberg deserves to be in Formula One anymore.
No, I think that signing Hulkenberg is a safe relegation to, at best, midfield.
Yeah.
He's proven to not be a podium sitter. No, he doesn't capitalize on the strange events and put himself in a position where he's going to stand on the podium in those freak scenarios where you get carnage at the front and you have spots open up. He has proven to not be able to do that. And he has had some good seats in the past. And he has never put himself in that position.
No, he's always the second driver.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of his F2, F3, and he wasn't good, but he wasn't bad. I don't know. I feel like there is a solid list of drivers that probably should not be in F1 anymore and need to move on.
Yeah, I think this year was a bit of a cleansing, right? With so many rookies coming in this year. But I think that's just because last year there was not a single rookie in the field to start the season.
Yeah.
Which, it had never happened before. And there's clearly a reason why it happens. You need to have that natural attrition of these drivers who just simply aren't performing.
So if you had to get rid of 5 today.
5? Oh, geez.
5. We're going to do 5. Who would you go?
Oh, rapid fire. Unfortunately, I got to go Yuki. This is going to sound really harsh, but Fernando, I think it's time to retire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Hulkenberg. Lance, that's an easier one. And now we're getting into the tough ones here. Ocon.
Ooh, okay. So Okay, so you didn't go with any rookies. You're just going older.
I'm going older.
Okay.
Yeah. If we're including rookies,
A bunch of them.
Liam Lawson's gone. Unfortunately, Jack Doohan, just because Jack Doohan hasn't
impressed
me
Yeah.
yet.
Mm-hmm. So I would go, obviously, Lance, Nico. I also agree with Fernando. I just feel like, you know?
Yeah, it's just such a long career that...
Yeah, and he had, like a few shining moments a few years ago, and that was just kind of it. And it's like, okay. I would go Gasly, Yuki, and Ocon.
Yeah, I think some of them have
overstayed their welcome.
Yeah, they've had time to be at the top. They've had their chance to win races and perform at levels where they could, and have had cars that could do it, and they didn't perform.
Yeah, like part of me also wonders Alex Albon, because I feel like in the Williams, while he outperformed obviously like Logie, which was not challenging to do.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see the difference between him and Carlos, because I think a lot of people kind of would almost like weight them equally, where I think Carlos is
the stronger
driver by far. So I'm interested to see how that kind of plays out this year. I do think Alex Albon is better than Yuki.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think that he makes fewer mistakes. I think Yuki, and we've talked about that before, like I think Yuki makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
I think it's like temper takes over and he makes silly mistakes, or whereas like Oscar I think can create the gaps, but I think he knows where like it's naturally going to be possible, whereas like Yuki drives into like a wall and is like, why didn't the wall move?
Right.
A little bit,
Yeah, or expects a driver to move when there's no reason for them to move.
Yeah.
And then he comes on and is like, oh, they turned into me. Which, I mean, several drivers have said that same thing.
Yeah.
I always just shoot back to with George crashing into Valtteri back in 21. And then when you see the onboards, he just turns into Valtteri and he's like, oh, he turned right into me.
Yeah. Delusional, George. Delusional.
Yeah. Back to the race, though. Charles getting on the podium for Ferrari.
Yeah, I was really happy with Charles. I thought that was a great drive. I think he kind of just raced his own race. Like he kind of stayed out of it for the most part and just kind of like continued on.
Yeah. Yeah, Ferrari had good strategy for him.
Yeah, and like the car didn't look like it was overly fast.
No, I think they were expecting, not to say that they were expecting more, but in his post-race, he kind of thought that their race pace was going to be faster.
But why? Because qualifying, it wasn't.
But they know that their race pace is always better, that their race pace has been better than qualifying.
But Charles is like the master qualifier.
He is a one-lap wonder, it seems, with qualifying.
So I don't know. I mean, it's funny because when you look at the milliseconds that we're talking or whatever, like it's like such small fractions.
Yeah.
So really, like they all kind of deserve to be at the front. Like, so
well, I mean, like the only reason Max got pole is because he got a solid toe from Yuki.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Had he not had that toe,
yeah, I wonder where he would have ended up.
He would have been,
because he was actually
second or third.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, like good for Charles. Happy for Ferrari. It seems like they're like, I don't know, struggling a little bit, but I feel like that happens a lot with them, where they go through these periods of struggle.
Yeah, and I mean Lewis is still
trying to figure
it out. Yeah, he's still not. It doesn't look like he's comfortable in the car yet.
No,
we're not seeing the speed that he's used to,
which
is disappointing, right? I mean, we all want to see Lewis doing exceptionally well because everyone loves Lewis.
I feel like he comes alive when he goes to the US. So I'm hoping that like Miami's next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping for a good race from him there. I feel like Charles has struggled at the past in this track before. Like he seems to drive off of it. Not that I am a Formula One driver by any means, but driving that track on a sim, it's hard.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Like I crashed so many times. So many times.
Yeah.
So I get it. And like, I feel like there's like areas of like oversteer, like big oversteer areas. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see how the rookies handle it.
I mean, I think Saudi was more of a test for the rookies, right?
I think they played it very cautious.
I think so too.
I think they were very afraid. Like Kimi did well.
Yeah, the only exception was Kimi, who, finished up in sixth, which I think was really strong. He's the only one that got points. Isaac Hadjar.
I feel like Kimi and Isaac were the ones that I think gave it a little bit more.
Right.
The rest of them played it a little bit more safe, which I get. Like, although it was last year that Oliver Bearman, he first raced at Saudi and he finished well because that's when Carlos had his appendix taken out.
Ferrari, yeah.
So
speaking of rookies, Liam Lawson catching another penalty.
I know. I love it. But where were these penalties last year? Because he kind of drove like a jerk last year.
Maybe there's just a crackdown from the FIA.
They don't like his attitude either.
They don't. They really...
They're like, this guy needs to be shown the door.
They're not getting any leeway to him, right? They're not giving him any.
No. And because he has a bunch of points on his super license too. So like that should be interesting.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get to the K-Mag level.
I hope he does. I really hope he does. That's so mean. I'm sorry. But not really.
No. Speaking of Lawson, there is renewed rumors of Red Bull, or I shouldn't say Red Bull, Racing Bulls looking at Colapinto.
Oh, okay.
Calling up Flavio and trying to secure Colapinto for the remainder of the season, which, if that were to happen, that would be the final nail
in the
Liam Lawson coffin.
So, okay, here's why I don't think they're going to do that. Because you can only use how many drivers? Is it 4?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, like, this is driver number 3. I don't see that happening.
Unless there's the next couple of races he really underperforms, or you don't think it'll happen at all?
I just don't think it'll happen this year. I think they'll leave him where he is. He finished 12th, which isn't horrible.
Yep.
I just think they're going to leave him because I think it's too risky because you don't want to, like, Colapinto is still technically, I mean, I guess you wouldn't call him a rookie. I don't know. Would you really put 2 rookie-esque drivers in the same car after you've already gone through 2 other drivers? Like, I just feel like that is asking for something to happen. And then what are you going to do? Call Liam back? But like, sorry, we fired you from 2 teams.
Yeah, sorry, we fired you twice, but we need someone to get the car around.
I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to keep him and maybe cut their losses at the end of the season and try to sign a Colapinto or maybe somebody else. And who knows, maybe Colapinto will take somebody else's seat.
Well, so apparently Alpine is comfortable with Doohan and is sticking with him for the remainder of the year. That's the rumors that I'm reading.
I mean, it makes sense.
And Flavio is essentially trading Colapinto's futures for his own personal gain. Yeah, like I think Colapinto's great, and I think he's got a future, and I think it's just he has to just wait. Yeah. I don't think they're going to do anything with Liam. I don't think it makes sense to do it. Like, they don't really care that much about that team, which I did hear renewed kind of rumors of, not rumors, but like basically people being like, Red Bull should not have 2 teams. Yeah, complaints that they shouldn't have 2
teams. Which
I
agree. They really shouldn't. Yeah. So, like, the way that they can swap drivers around is just something that other teams can't do. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's time that they maybe examine that and bring somebody else in who actually wants to win and is going to put money into it, because like they don't care about that team as much. It's a development team. Yeah. So like bring somebody in like a Mercedes or whatever that's going to like put money into it and try to win, because that would just make things so much more exciting.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need another Haas.
Well, no, but that's, I mean, they denied Andretti's purchase of a team, right? Or you denied them coming in as the 11th team. Then Cadillac came in individually.
Should we buy a team? Who would you hire as drivers for your hypothetical team? So say we bought Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
Who do you hire?
I mean, I think you got to look at the budget.
Say
right?
Say there is no budget.
I mean, unlimited cost cap.
Who's your dream team?
Oh man, that's tough.
Say you can sign any team.
Literally
drivers.
anybody, and they'll come over willingly.
Yes.
I feel like I have to pick Lewis.
Okay.
Just because he's the greatest.
Okay.
Of all time.
And you're like, I will build a car for you, Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I would say Oscar.
So I am going Lewis and Valtteri.
Oh.
I am
You're
reuniting
back
my
the old
dream
Mercedes
team.
team.
Yeah. Oscar would be like, if Valtteri was like, no, which obviously Valtteri would say yes, because Valtteri would realize that we need to be friends. And
yeah, it would be besties. Yeah.
But like Oscar is like, he is like a close third.
Yeah.
Because he is like, I'd say my second favorite driver on the grid right now. But I would love to see a Lewis Valtteri reunion. You know, I think it'd be fun.
It was a dynamic team.
Yeah, I bet you we could totally get funding for this. Let's do it.
I'm all in.
Okay, I'll design the logo.
This is exciting. You're hearing it here first, folks. This is the creation of a new team. You got Canadian startup coming in.
No money.
No money. No qualifications. Sheer will.
Yeah.
And overconfidence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a powerful combination.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Outside of that,
we could buy a karting team.
yeah, we can get a karting team. Yeah, we'll start with the karts, and we'll see where it takes us. We got a 5-year-old we can throw in there.
Ooh, she would totally win.
Some races.
She would not back down.
No. Outside of that, we've got Miami next.
Yeah. What are your predictions? I'm going to go with an Oscar win.
Yeah, I think Oscar has been too strong. I'm going to agree an Oscar win.
I think Lewis is going to hit the podium.
You think so?
I do. I'm going to say Oscar, Charles, Lewis.
Okay.
I'm hoping like Lando and Max crash into each other and just do a solid for me.
Do a solid for you, yeah. Yeah, I think Oscar will take it. I do think Lando will perform well. He's obviously knows Miami and is strong around Miami. So I think he will. I think it'll be a battle between Oscar and Lando for first. Mm-hmm. And then I don't want to say it, but I think Max will come in. I know you don't want to hear it. But I do think Charles and Lewis will be right up there. And I mean, really, I think George, Charles, and Lewis will battle it out for the fourth position.
No. So here's where I disagree with that, because the Mercedes does not like the heat.
Miami's hot. So you think they're going to be further back?
I do. I think they're going to struggle a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Because it always seems to do better in the cool.
It does do better in the cooler weather, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but Saudi was hot, so I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you know what I love about Formula One 2025 is that you don't know. Anything could happen.
Yeah. I mean, it has been pretty dominant from McLaren, right? They've been decidedly the team to beat. You know, like right now, I mean, McLaren, you know, they're at how many points? They're 77 points over Mercedes.
That's some quick math.
Yeah. So they've got a strong lead.
Yeah. So like I just don't think they are at the dominance level that we saw with Max last year, the year before, 2023.
Yeah, I mean, 23 was
annoying.
Just Red Bull.
It just sucked.
Just crazy dominance.
Yeah, so like I think that it's nice that, I mean, this year, like, I know that Lewis won a sprint, so it doesn't count as much. But I do think that there has been a lot of variety on the podium and like different race winners. So I hope others can catch up to McLaren and it's not just like a sweep.
Yeah, well, Miami last year was sort of the change in the tides away from Red Bull.
Yeah.
A lot of teams came with pretty big updates last year. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some updates again this year, because it would be nice to see some more contests at the front. I would like to see Mercedes, a little bit higher. I'd like to see George fight for the win. I think that'd be exciting to see. And then I'd like to see something like an Alpine fighting for a little bit higher, right? Like Gasly's been performing really, really well.
Yeah, he's done well at the last two.
Like he qualified in 6th. So outside of this crash, he would likely have finished well in the points.
Yeah. It's an interesting turnaround for them. And I do think that Ocon is more talented than Doohan. I know that Ocon and Gasly had their clashing moments, which anyone could have told you that those two would not have worked out as a driver pairing. But it would be interesting to see what Ocon could be doing that car too. And I think it's easier to say we're going to take a chance on a rookie when our car is terrible. And I mean, what do you have to lose? But now it's like, oh, we actually have a faster car. and
Gasly's vastly outperforming
Doohan. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to do anything about the Doohan situation for now. I think that they'll keep him around for a while longer. Ooh, the exciting drivers market.
Yeah. I think we're going to see some swaps early on this year, because so many contracts are up.
Yeah.
End of this year.
Tons.
Right? Like it's lots of contracts are up. And I think, a lot of people are auditioning for their seat. And I think George is one who is, he is really pushing hard to renew with Mercedes. And I think he is performing like someone who knows his contract is up. And he's like, I want to keep this first Mercedes seat.
Yeah. I don't know if he will.
I think
someone's going to make a big move and then everything's just going to go to shit.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Exactly like last year.
Yeah. And it's funny because Max's contract isn't up for 2 years.
I think so.
3 years? Is it 28?
I think his contract goes until 28.
So I think there's enough talk happening that lead teams to believe they have a chance for Max this year, or 26. So I think they're going to wait. I think you're going to see later contract renewals.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see Toto sit on a decision for Mercedes for a while, until he's sure Max is off the table.
You think Max would be the only one he'd be going for?
I think he'd go for Oscar, but I think Oscar's...
Yeah, I think Oscar is happy where he is. And
I don't see him
has
moving.
just renewed. And
yeah, I don't see him going for anybody other than Max.
Yeah.
Do you think there's somebody else?
I don't.
No. Okay.
And I say that because he had his chance with Carlos.
He didn't want Carlos.
Last year.
No.
Right? He could have gotten Carlos very easily at...
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anybody else on that grid that he would be interested in. Ferrari's not going to let Charles go.
No.
Right?
I don't think Charles
nor does Charles want
to
go anywhere. No. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else being even considered.
And I think Alonso is a seat filler until they can get Max.
Yeah.
He has openly talked about how his time at the team is not done when he's done driving. So he's planning on staying there long term.
Yeah, but I still can't believe Max going to a team.
I don't think he's going to go there.
With Lance still there.
No, I think the Lance thing is a problem, and I think they haven't had enough performance. I know that Newey is great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but is he going to be great day one of 2026?
Right.
I don't know. And I think that's a big enough gamble that Max is going to maybe pump the brakes on that. I mean, maybe he'll just wait out his time at Red Bull until they can prove that they have the car.
Mm-hmm.
They might just sign a bunch of 1 years just to keep.
Yeah.
Like if that's their long-term strategy, that Max is going to want a sure thing. He's not going to want to leave Red Bull. As frustrated as he is with Red Bull in their slow pit stops last time, and other issues and the driver swaps and all of that, I don't see him making, as much as I think he's a reactive person, I don't see him making a big change like that unless he has some certainty around it. So I think Mercedes, he knows there's performance. And I think he knows there's enough performance that you throw him in the car and he thinks that he's going to work magic.
Right.
I think that Aston is too slow. And I think he would have, like, it's hard to, like, I think Nui's wonderful. He's amazing, obviously, like, super talented. I don't think he's going to gamble on a car that he will not have confidence. I know that the regulations are a massive change for 26, so everyone's going to be kind of in the same boat, but I think that there's like uncertainty around that. So I think unless they can get Max and he goes along with it, I think you're going to see a lot of 1 year contracts until someone can get Max.
Yeah.
Or he retires.
Do you think Cadillac is in the running?
I do not think Cadillac is in the running. But did you hear like that, like there's like rumors swirling around Checo?
Yes.
And Cadillac? I really don't want Checo to come back. Like he's like top of the list of like, you need to just move on. Like be gone. He's like a Romain Grosjean to me. Like just go away already.
Strong feelings.
I know. Like I'm sure he's a lovely person, but I just don't think that he is consistent enough. And I think that like in Formula One, if you want it to be competitive, then they need to all be consistently performing at a high level.
But I mean, when he was with Racing Point or Force India, he performed pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know. Granted,
it was a mid-fleet team.
Yeah, he did have some like moments, but I feel like it was more like the Alpine moments where you're like, oh, okay, like you've had a good, I don't know. I just think that some of these like talented rookies come in.
Yeah.
Like let them have a chance, because like you don't need a bunch of 40-year-olds driving the car around forever. Not to say anything against Lewis, because I think I think he still has it. I think him and Lando maybe need to both get a mindset coach. Because like Lewis has struggled too, but like Lewis has been like a little bit more open about it, right? Like I think had the outcome of 21 not happened, I think had the season not ended the way that it did, I think Lewis would have been a different driver for the last 4 years. I just think that destroyed him, because I think he put everything into that season. Yeah. And then that just killed him. But
well, as you say, Lewis is also very, very open about how he has had challenges with his mindset and with his attitude.
But I think he recognizes
Absolutely.
it. He works hard to try to fix it. Yeah. Exactly. Whereas, some of the other drivers don't do that. So I don't know. I love the rumors that are swirling. Yeah. I think it just makes it more exciting. It kind of leaves you on the, edge of your seat. What'll happen. And then it's fun to watch it unfold on Drive to Survive, where like I can't follow that show for the life of me because it bounces around so much. Yeah. And they cut to so many different races and it's so confusing. And not at like, I don't want to say not at all how things happen, but like I think they leave out massive storylines that like actually fill in the gaps.
Or fabricate some that.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It's like discombobulating to watch it real time. Yeah. And then you watch it again and it's like, that's not how that happened.
That's not how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm still going to watch it. Because you do get like the little nuggets of like, oh, like when, Carlos with his whole like, how he basically stood James Vowles up for his signing. I do enjoy those like little moments. And also too, like sometimes you get angles from crashes that you didn't see before. Like I remember when Zhou, his crash, like, you know, his big crash where like the car went airborne and was like, just like, that was the most, like, without the halo, he would have been dead. And I remember like watching it live.
And there
like,
wasn't that much coverage of
it.
it.
They didn't show anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, Joe crashed. How do you end up there? No idea.
Yeah.
Like, it was wild. But so like things like that, I don't know why I started talking about Drive to Survive, but anyway, moments like that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But the rest I like, eh.
But that's why I watch the races.
Okay, so we've covered our predictions for Miami.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd love to add? No? We're going to be back next week to bring you a historical race. We're going to shed some new light on it. Perhaps it's one you never saw.
It depends on how long you've been watching.
Mine is from 2005, I think. So, interesting. Wild.
It's good stuff. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning into Motorsport Podcast. Follow the show, and we'll see you next week. Motorsport Podcast is a Vorbeck Media production. Follow us on Instagram at Motorsport Pod. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or our YouTube page, Motorsport Pod. Bye.